Then we have clear wins.
Nice.
I choose my existence over being a billionaire trader any day.
Nice. And I like that you said it's about having quality problems, because people think that a life without problems is what they want, but a life without problems is a life without happiness, because happiness is when you solve problems.
The term happiness, I take some objection with that. I think this is my philosophy.
Yeah, I'm very open to hear it.
I think happiness comes and goes. I think it's a mood, and this is something Tate talks about very clearly as well. Whereas fulfillment, that's something to aim for. It doesn't matter how you feel. I think discipline. I often say discipline decisions daily, and that's something I learned from Tate. Tate puts in a certain amount of reps with a certain amount of weight every day, regardless of how he feels. Regardless, I mean, thankfully we don't drink anymore, which I'm very happy about. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
But even before, when there was all night drinking, 2 hours sleep, off to the gym as soon as you wake up.
Wow.
Like just that discipline, doing meaningful work, having people you want around you. None of this really, to me, ties into happiness, but it does tie into fulfillment. So that's my goal. I don't care about my mood. I don't care about my emotions. I want to wake up every day saying every part of my reality is what I want it to be. Alhamdulillah, very blessed materially, amazing friends, meaningful work. I'm fulfilled. I know that I'm making the right decisions in my life. So I don't use the word happiness.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Makes sense. A lot of sense. Just using that as like an umbrella term. But actually, yeah, you're right. What we're chasing is not happiness, because happiness is just like a short-term fleeting thing.
And you can get happiness from drugs. You can get happiness from hedonism. You can get happiness from
true.
unhealthy ways. You can't get fulfillment from drugs.
No.
You can't get fulfillment from hedonism.
Like that long-term kind of peaceful feeling.
Exactly. And that's why I'm grateful to have discovered Islam. If you're seeking a really fulfilling existence and you don't have a relationship with God, you don't have somewhere you can go and forget all the problems of dunya, of the world, and speak to what you perceive to be the higher force in the world, and to have that extra element below the material and the surface, then I think you're really missing a trick. So I don't think it's possible to have real fulfillment without strong faith. I really believe that.
Yeah, honestly, because I remember for me as a kid, I always said like I want to have financial success, personal and spiritual. And I think you need all three. Without spiritual, you're living a life of nihilism. You're just waiting to die, and
you're missing out on a real core part of the human experience.
Right. Definitely. I tell people sometimes, let's say you don't believe that God exists, but if you're gonna live a life, and you know that having a God just outweighs not having a God 10 times. Why would you not just have someone there that you can believe in? You know what I mean?
That's it, man. Show me a fulfilled atheist. I'm yet to meet one.
True.
They tend to be pretty grumpy and pretty unhappy and angry at the world, and spending a lot of time on Twitter.
And on debates.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, they're just fighting. Right, so we're going to talk about, you were always the guy in the background, and recently you decided to come out. I wanted to ask you, why did Andrew choose you to be his closest friend?
Interesting question. I think with people like Andrew and I, and indeed a lot of, I'd say that the men who are really doing well in all the different areas of life, there's a value economy. Yeah. I'm not Andrew's friend because I make good jokes or I take good selfies or something. Yeah? I add value to his life. I add value to his life, and he adds value to mine. Now, if we want to break that down, what are the different ways you can add value to someone's life? Typically, it'd be practical value.
Yeah.
I mean, the way you've built what you've built. You told me you bring people who come in and they don't know the city, you show them the city, you introduce them to good people. So you're adding value to them.
Yeah, 100%.
They then add value to you by coming on your podcast.
Exactly.
Everyone wins. There's a similar dynamic, I think, with all of the people at the top, if you will, in their fields. I added value to his life in numerous ways, and he added a lot of value to. I've learned a lot from Andrew. He's added a lot of value to pretty much every area of my life.
Yeah,
He's an incredible orator. He speaks so well.
Amazing.
He channels incredible insights.
How does he do that? How does he speak that well?
It's a tricky one. I think he has a very strong intellect from his dad, but his dad wasn't just smart. His dad was very intense and very clear on principles and very driven to find truth. And so Andrew came in, and his dad was very masculine, very driven, and Andrew's dad imparted that drive into his son, and to both of them, Andrew and Tristan. Tristan has an incredible intellect as well.
True.
I really hope Tristan chooses to speak up more, because his insights in the human condition, his view of the world is incredible to listen to. They're both very different in their intelligence as well as guys. But from an early age, they had a role model who was very masculine, very principled, very driven for truth, very much rejecting the programming of society. Their dad from an early age taught them governments aren't necessarily in your favor. Modern day culture doesn't necessarily want the best for you. All these different things. So they almost, I don't want to say took the red pill, but they from an early age, they thought with their own minds as opposed to what society was telling them to think. And so at the earliest of age, they were analyzing what they saw around them, and you bring that into, adulthood, that's someone who has a lot of learning and a lot of insights to share. And I really do believe, I don't want to say anything that's inappropriate, but I believe Andrew has a level of insight that is so rare, you could classify him as some sort of messenger. I don't necessarily mean in a religious sense. I don't want to say anything that's shirk, obviously. Yeah. But I think the amount of insights that Andrew channels has the real potential to help humanity on a very deep level. Yeah. We have this religion of wokeism. We have all this modern degeneracy, especially now that Andrew has found Islam and is more and more reflecting on what matters in life and how to live a good life and inspiring people and leaving a legacy on humanity. Like Andrew has the ears of the youth, right? And how you shape the youth is how you shape humanity. These people will become future leaders. So he's very much aware of the fact that it's now his duty with, the insights he was given from his dad and all he's learned over the years. And of course, guided by his faith, to leave a very clear and very positive impact on humanity. And that's why I support him so strongly. Look, I like Andrew. He's my bro. But the reason why I'm going public, the reason why I will literally sacrifice pretty much anything in my life to support him isn't just because he's my bro. It's because I see the importance and the positivity of his message and how that has such an important role to play when humanity is at a real crossroads. There are so many different influences trying to push humanity towards bless you, towards degeneracy, towards hedonism, push away from traditional gender roles, which I think are very important. That leads to fulfillment, as we're 100%. Talking about. That want to make men docile and sheepish and make women masculine and inherently unfulfilled. Andrew's words have the potential to offset all of that negative direction. Yeah. And I think it's very important. That's why I'm here. Nice. But to answer your question, brother, why did Andrew choose me? I added value first practically in numerous ways. I have a very particular set of skills, built over a long career, if you know that quote. So I helped practically in numerous ways, but then it became a brotherhood thing. And so he uses me as a sounding board for many of his, Andrew's Andrew. No one's managing Andrew. People say I'm his manager. No one is managing Andrew. Spend some time with Andrew. No one manages him. But what he does like is to bounce ideas off those he trusts. So I am that guy. Obviously Tristan is
brainstorm,
that guy as well.
Thinking out loud kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so he values the insights I have. And the perspective I bring is risk. I have a master's degree in risk management.
Really?
I've been to about 90 countries and worked in pretty much every active war zone over the last 15 years. So I understand risk pretty well. And as someone who's, in the past protected very high profile people, I understand the physical security piece too. So I can add value that way. But also the brotherhood thing. And just having someone who you feel you can trust and you can really connect with and speak openly with, he values that. And so I think that's why he's chosen me. Nice. But it was a very slow process. Yeah. He actually admitted for the first year of our friendship, he didn't fully trust me. So he was doing his research on me based on my mannerisms, based on, what I said, how I conducted myself before he fully trusted me. And I think all men should be like that. Yeah. Who you let into your inner circle is a very... Men should conceptualize. They need to be very careful. Have
the most important
have
thing,
a tight circle. Don't have a lot of people in your home, and really vet those friends so that you can rely on them to the end.
For me, 100%, hands down, by far, the most important action that had the most impact in my life was cutting out a lot of my friends.
Awesome. And how old are you?
I'm 20 now.
Wow, man. See, a lot of people don't realize that until it's too late and they're in their 30s or 40s. Like, that's fantastic.
It's often the hardest thing to do because, sometimes these are the people that you grew up with. They might have been there for you during a lot of hard times. But at the end of the day, where you're going in life, you have to know where you're going in. They say, show me your friends, I'll show you my future. Are the friends around you? Are they on that same mission? And how well are they doing at that? You know what I mean?
Fantastic. I think it's a frequency thing too. I haven't quite got my head around this, but when I started spending time with the Tates at first, man, it was exhausting. Okay. Like they don't sleep much. Back then there was a lot of drinking. Tates will train 3 times a day as normal. Max intensity. God. Like they just hit it all the time. They'll train the same muscle groups every day for like 10 days in a row.
Jeez.
There's just this intense, constant output, constant work, zero chill. At first that was exhausting for me.
He's in great shape.
No, that's it.
Great shape.
People trying to say he takes steroids. I know Tate. Tate couldn't be bothered taking steroids. Yeah. Like he just
he doesn't take anything external anyways. He doesn't do any drugs. So why would he put like
on principle?
And his most important thing is testosterone. He's not gonna do something that's gonna worry about having he won't be able to have kids later or stuff like that. You would never risk that.
Yeah, exactly. On principle, he'd never touch